Slouching Towards Gomorrah by Robert H. Bork. The book bears a dedication. For Mary Ellen, sharer of good days, comforter on bleak ones. There is good reason why William Butler Yeats's The Second Coming is probably the most quoted poem of our time. The image of a world disintegrating, then to be subjected to a brutal force, speaks to our fears now. The Second Coming. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the Second Coming is at hand. The Second Coming. Hardly are those words out when a vast image of spiritus mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in sands of the desert, a shape with lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun, is moving its slow thighs, while all about it reel shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again. But now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born? William Butler Yeats. When Yeats wrote that in 1919, he may have foreseen that the 20th century would experience the blood-dimmed tide, as indeed it has. But he can hardly have had any conception of just how thoroughly things would fall apart, as the center failed to hold in the last third of this century. He can hardly have foreseen that passionate intensity, uncoupled from morality, would shred the fabric of Western culture. The rough beast of decadence, a long time in gestation, having reached its maturity in the last 3 decades, now sends us slouching towards our new home, not Bethlehem, but Gomorrah. Acknowledgements. My first debt is to the late Irwin Glicks, my editor and publisher at the Free Press, when I wrote with his sympathetic guidance my previous book. We agreed that the next book should deal with American culture. He did not live to see the project underway. His death at the age of 56 was both a great personal and an intellectual loss. Judith Regan, the publisher of Regan Books at HarperCollins, has my gratitude for offering me a new home after Irwin's death. She has proved an extraordinarily patient editor-publisher with just the right amount of impatience to bring what could have been an endless labor to an end. Midge Decter, the editor of my first book, on antitrust policy, consented to edit this book as well. She proved exceptionally helpful, particularly on questions of tone and approach. Daniel E. Troy, who was my clerk when I was a judge, took time out from a busy private practice to read the manuscript more than once and make any number of highly intelligent and useful suggestions. John DiUlio, professor of politics and public affairs, Princeton University, and director, Center for Public Management, Brookings Institution, read and greatly improved Chapter 9. Charles Krauthammer, columnist and former practitioner of medicine, read and made very useful comments on Chapter 10. Irving Kristol read the book and offered some general and well-taken criticisms that I tried to meet. Diane Irving, professor of philosophy, DeSalle School of Theology, and a research biochemist, educated me about the beginnings of life and abortion. See, for example, her Scientific and Philosophical Expertise, an evaluation of the arguments on personhood, Linacre Quarterly, February 1993, page 18. My wife, Mary Ellen, made many suggestions and provided moral support on bleak days. Jennifer Becky Catarini conducted research, gave advice, and supervised the interns who assisted with research and the organization of materials. My secretary, Laura Hardy, did everything: typing, copying, dealing with callers and correspondence, finding books, and handling innumerable details of life so that I was free to write. In the early stages, research assistance was provided by Gregory Maggs, now an associate professor of law at George Washington University, and Joshua Abramowitz, now a law student at Yale University. Robert Barnett, lawyer and literary agent, has now twice led me through the labyrinths of the publishing world, and again drafted a contract that pleased everyone involved. Chapter 16 is a substantial